Okay, brand new clip out of The View. Stephen A. Smith explaining to Joy Behar why Trump's win was a mandate. Here we go.
So Trump's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state.
He swept the swing states, the blue states. Got 312 electoral college votes. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse my language. That is an ass whipping. That is what that is.
And as we go, I'm going to add some of the clips of my own, kind of do the weave like we sometimes do on the channel. Also, like the video. I always forget to say that. Like the video, please.
He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020.
Number suggests indeed a substantial shift among Latino voters and to a smaller extent black voters. And that's really what helped solidify Trump's, I think you can probably call it, landslide victory.
Harris wins the youth vote by 13 points. But 4 years ago, Joe Biden won it by 24 points. So basically got cut in half.
89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can...
I'd also add, it feels right now for the first time in a long time, my entire adult life, the right wing, the Republicans, are winning the culture war. For once. It's like always been cool if you're a younger person to be liberal for some reason. I never understood it, but that seems to be shifting.
And look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
That is such a good point.
We should continue to do that.
So
don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
But do you think those groups, the black voters, the Latino voters, and the others that you mentioned, are they going to regret it soon?
Possibly. I think so. I don't like what I'm seeing from Trump. I didn't like what I saw with Zelenskyy. I didn't like what I saw with a few things. But
Why? I'm sure he's referring to that Zelenskyy meeting. Why?
In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful. Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards.
So many liberals totally freaked out, Saturday Night Live included, about that meeting. I mean, maybe it's already been working, because check this out. Trump, after that, said he wants peace.
What?
What does Zelenskyy need to do to restart talks with you?
He's got to say, I want to make peace.
Following the Trump-Zelenskyy J.D. Vance argument in the Oval Office, tensions appear to rise a little, which I'll show here. But today, Zelenskyy put out, I would say, a pretty promising, hopefully, knock on wood, statement on his X, but I'll show this clip first.
An agreement to end the war is still very, very far away, and no one has started all these steps yet. President Trump responded to Zelenskyy by saying, quote, "This is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelenskyy, and America will not put up with it for much longer." And
then Zelenskyy today posted on Twitter, "I would like to reiterate Ukraine's commitment to peace." He also mentioned what Trump was talking about there. We remember the moment that things changed when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. I mean, a lot of people didn't think this Zelenskyy statement was good enough, but it's better than like what happened the last few days. So I say all this to just show, like, I'll get back to the Stephen A. Smith clip, but Stephen A. Smith, who I like, and it's all good. He seems kind of new to politics. He does kind of seem like he does not want to upset either side too much, but it's all good. I still like him in politics.
I didn't like what I saw with Zelenskyy. I didn't like what I saw with a few things. But in the end, I didn't like it. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. the American people, in their eyes, it wasn't about him. They were voting against what the Democrats were throwing in their direction. I don't only talk to Cuomo. I did interview Eric Adams. I did interview Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. I interviewed these people. I've talked to them, and I'm going to talk to some more of them, too. And I'm going to say the same message. What are you doing to win? I love Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. I love Josh Perry of Pennsylvania, okay? I just interviewed Cuomo. I like him a lot. I want somebody to step up and recognize that man in the Oval Office, whether you like it or not, is potent. He's coming and he wins. You got to find a way to beat him. This way is not the way that the Democrats have been doing it.
Let's talk about how
Look, I've talked about this on other videos. I made the comment, the Democrats right now are the party of, hey, nobody touch anything. What do the Democrats stand for? That kind of sounds like what Stephen A. was saying there. I mean, they need a leader. Like, guys like Stephen A. Smith, Mark Cuban, even though I do not agree with his takes hardly ever, are some of the only people willing to go in the media and give some sort of take on what the Democrats should do. The rest of them just say, no one do anything, or Orange Man, Trump is so bad.
Are feeling about his performance, because a CNN poll this week found that 52% of people disapprove of Trump's performance in office so far. So even though he may have won the general election by less than 50%, 52% disapprove of what he's doing. We're also seeing Republican voters at town halls opposing his executive overreach, giving Elon Musk the shadow presidency. Yet you said, quote, Trump is closer to normal than what we're seeing.
Just slides that in. The shadow presidency.
Democrats on Capitol Hill today are expressing outrage.
Look, billionaires are running the show here. And so what I want to say to people is you thought you voted for Trump. You didn't actually. Who's taking orders from whom? Musk is calling the shots.
Yet you said, quote, Trump is closer to normal than what we're seeing on the left.
Yeah, I was talking about why he won the election.
So?
When I made that statement, I was talking about, that was before the election.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
So when during the election, I said, in the immediate aftermath of the election, I pointed out he was voted for because they considered him closer to normal than what the Democrats were spewing. That was what I said at that particular moment in time.
Senate Democrats made their priorities clear. 45 Senate Democrats voted against protecting women's sports. 45 Senate Democrats voted against keeping women's spaces safe.
Now, obviously, Elon Musk is an entirely different matter altogether.
Right.
This man is not an elected official. He hasn't been confirmed by the Senate or anything, but he's got an inordinate amount of power.
Given to him by Trump.
I can understand how that could scare the living daylights out of folks, and the approval ratings. Obviously, we pay attention to that. But here's the bigger question. Who on the Democratic side are the American people pointing to and saying that's the person?
Well,
That's what I was just saying. I actually haven't even watched this clip yet, but Stephen A. Smith and me right now, we're on the same wavelength.
They don't have anybody yet.
Well, we're
plenty.
6 weeks in with you know who.
National Voice.
Right.
We're 6 weeks in with you
Leader
know who.
Jeffries.
Everybody said let him do what he's doing so we can see what's going on. So, and now people are saying, well, what are you going to do as a Democrat? Well, wait a minute now. Y'all didn't want to hear what we had to say as Democrats because that wasn't what people voted for.
True.
So now we have a clear definition, and the American people will decide how they like what he's doing because now it's affecting in a way that people were not anticipating. People who did.
But what's the alternative? That's Stephen A. Smith's point pretty much here. What is the Democratic alternative to Donald Trump? Nobody can answer that. So we'll finish the clip there, obviously. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Have a great day.